That right there was one of the most historical, prolific playoff wins that we've seen this past decade. What a privilege that was to watch. The Chicago Bears have won their first playoff game in 15 years. They haven't won a playoff game since they beat the Seahawks in the 2010 playoffs. And there's been heartbreak all throughout. The NFC Championship loss that year, of course. The double doink. The loss to New Orleans a few years ago. It's been falling short for the Bears for a decade and a half when it comes to the playoffs. But tonight, those fans finally reap their glory. And they get their first playoff win since that 2010 season against their arch nemesis, the Green Bay Packers. This was divine for the Bears. Victory couldn't taste any sweeter than it did tonight. And then, to top it all off, they had to overcome an 18-point deficit to do so. This game was 21-3 at half. This thing felt like it was over. The Packers were clicking on all four cylinders on offense. That thing was a well-oiled machine. Jordan Love had a great night. He had a high-volume night, but he had a great night. You know, you look at guys like Romeo Doubs, who's incredibly reliable. I feel like he was getting open all the time in this game. Great hands, 8 receptions, 124 yards. The Packers were just rolling in the first half, and it seemed effortless. And the Bears, you know what they reminded me of in the first half? They reminded me of the Baltimore Ravens when they played the Titans in the divisional round in the 2019 playoffs, January of 2020. When Derrick Henry and there ran all over them. The offense was just completely out of sync in the first half. You had Caleb Williams flipping out on the sidelines. And this was our first glance at playoff Caleb Williams. And it wasn't off to a great start. I mean, looked chaotic. He looked unhinged, but I like the emotion. But it was not clicking offensively at all. Green Bay's defense was locking them down. Their secondary was doing a great job. Caleb Williams wasn't able to get any receivers open. It was a struggle. It was the struggle bus for the Bears in the first half. He had issues just opening or locating open receivers. And then second half, it was the defensive adjustments for the Bears that led to offensive production. I think the Packers had like 14 total yards in the third quarter, so they were struggling. They moved it was like a warm knife through butter in the first half for the Packers offensively. Second half, it was a struggle. That Bears defense was flying all over. And then what does that do? That breathes life back into the offense. The first couple of drives for the Bears on offense in the second half as well was kind of stale. Once they're able to kind of get going, though, they build off of that. And Caleb Williams, well, number one, this Bears offense really started getting that rhythm because of what the defense was doing. And then they just got back to the run game. They started handing off to Swift, started handing off to Monangai, and that got the offense flowing. Got Caleb Williams out of his head a little bit. He started to settle down, and then a huge factor in helping Caleb Williams settle in was his rookie tight ends, Colson Loveland. He was a cheat code tonight. Great route running, great hands, got open in the second half. A lot of Bears receivers were struggling to open tonight. I mean, Luther Burden didn't have a phenomenal night. Rome Odunze was up and down, like still kind of coming off of injury. Zacchaeus was up and down. DJ Moore had a decent night, but it was Colson Loveland who made all the difference. And that first touchdown drive that Caleb Williams had, it was just Loveland. And I'm usually a proponent of quarterbacks kind of spreading the wealth when it comes to passing the ball. But if you're trying to find your confidence, you're trying to find a rhythm, and you have somebody who is as on as Colson Loveland was tonight, you just get the ball to him. That was probably one of the best rookie tight end performances the NFL has seen. And I got to do my research on that to see what other metrics compare to what Colson Loveland did tonight when it comes to rookie tight ends in playoff games, but that was it was there was like no pressure at all for him. There was no sweat for him at all. It was almost like he'd played in 8 other playoff games before tonight. He was just out there playing backyard ball. He brought Caleb Williams' nerves down, and he started seeing the field better. The offense started moving more fluidly, and they closed the gap. And Green Bay was not scoring, moving the ball as rapidly as they were at all in the first half. And so Chicago was able to really close that gap, and they win this game. And so I want to talk about some of the stats in this game. So total yards. The Chicago Bears had 445 total yards. The Bears had the Packers had 421. These teams totaled over 800 total yards. I mean, this was an enthralling watch. And it was like a tale of two halves. The Packers got most of their yards in the first half. Bears get most of theirs in the second half. The Bears had the ball for 32 minutes. The Packers had the ball for 27 minutes and 19 seconds. The Packers had 7 penalties, 65 yards. The Bears only had 2 penalties the entire game for 5 yards. And so that helped them kind of stay in this thing as well. I will say this. If I'm a Packers fan, that missed extra point from McManus is going to haunt me forever. That was like double doink level right there. Because with that final drive in the fourth quarter, it was 31-28. Or, excuse me, 31-27. If it was 31-28, all the Packers would have to do is get in field goal range, in which they did, and kick a field goal. But no. They needed the 6, and then they have an offensive lineman injury, which causes a 10-second runoff. You know how those rules work, and it was just everything was against the Packers on that final drive, and it was too much for Jordan Love to overcome. I got a little shout out for my Texas logo up here. Gotta love it. The Air with Brian Gregory. The beautiful state of Texas. We are running out of Fort Worth here tonight. Shout out to beautiful Fort Worth. Shout out to Jordan Love, though, too. Phenomenal night. 323 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, he's had multiple of those games tonight where he's had over 3 touchdown passes. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 55 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. I believe the stat was he had 45 rushing yards in the first half. He had 6 at the end of the third quarter. So those Bears defensive adjustments really shut him down. And that's what it takes. Josh Jacobs is a bowling ball. He was helping to get that Packers offense rolling in the first half. And that's what helped get guys like Romeo Doubs open. Matthew Golden, too. Shout out Matthew Golden because he hadn't had a touchdown all year until tonight. He had 84 receiving yards. He had one of his best games of the entire season because we'd all been waiting for that kind of pop game out of Matthew Golden this year, and we finally got it tonight. He got his first touchdown reception, and it was electric. I mean, that little spin move he pulled, that leverage he had was unbelievable. And so shout out to Matthew Golden for that. Man, Jaden Reed, a bad miscatch on that final drive. I really thought he was going to haul that in. I mean, Jordan Love overthrew it a little bit as well. That went right off his hands. Christian Watson had kind of a quiet night. 3 receptions for 36 yards. I mean, you know how it is with Christian Watson. He's either getting 120 receiving yards or he's getting 18. I mean, he's kind of one of those guys. But Caleb Williams, very similar night to Jordan Love. I mean, this was a very pass-heavy game. Jordan Love had 46 passes. Caleb Williams had 48 tonight. So it combines over 90 passes for these quarterbacks tonight. 361 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And Caleb Williams had a bad interception in the third quarter, and it was at that point that I really thought this game was done. I thought the Packers were going to put this away. And the Packers are such a tough, gritty team. And I know they went out in the first round here, but you've got to appreciate that out of the Packers this year. I mean, all year long. They won games you didn't expect them to win. Despite injuries, they continue to fight. I mean, right now they've got no Tucker Kraft. They've got no Micah Parsons. They're supposed to start Malik Willis tonight. Instead, they're forced to go with Jordan Love. And they still looked as good as they did. I have nothing but respect and admiration for the Packers. It's a testament to coaching. I know there's been some organizational changes taking place with the Packers, and it's been a discussion of Matt LaFleur possibly getting fired or them parting ways, moving on. He would find a job somewhere else, no worries at all, but the Packers should not do that because this is a very well-coached team. This is a very good staff. I mean, obviously, Heffley's in conversations with other teams for their next head coach. You know, I know he's getting interviews scheduled, so they might lose him as the defensive coordinator. But this is a very well-coached team. I hope that this is all able to stay intact because I think that they're building something special with Green Bay, especially when they get Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons back. But back to Chicago here. DeAndre Swift, 13 carries, 54 yards. Kyle Monangai, 8 carries for 27 yards. And yeah, Colson Loveland, 8 receptions, 137 yards. DJ Moore, 6 receptions, 64 yards. So, really productive night out of the Bears tonight. But Caleb Williams, with things not going his way, throwing interception late in the third quarter, he still rallies his team. He still keeps his head in the game. He still has the right mentality. And I made a video a few weeks ago about Caleb Williams being a franchise caliber quarterback. Tonight only further solidified that because as a leader, when you're facing the circumstances that he was tonight, there's one of two directions you can take. Number one, you can fall into the self-pity wagon and let that energy permeate through your team. Or you can find a way to win. You can find a way to elevate everyone around you and make them get better. And sometimes it takes yelling at them. Sometimes it takes that fire. I would rather my quarterback be emotional than be a bump on a log watching us get smacked around 21-3. I'd rather him be pissed off and in people's faces and trying to get this team juiced. Because I think Caleb Williams is a huge factor in what brought the Bears back tonight. But massive win for the Bears tonight, especially against the Packers. First playoff win in 15 years. These fans have been through so much heartbreak, and the Bears just straight up earned this thing tonight. So it's going to be a long night in Chicago. They're going to be partying, but then you got to lock back in to play the winner of San Francisco and Philly tomorrow. That game will be great as well. Chicago gets to host another playoff game next weekend. And something that I love about this game as well, we are now guaranteed that Rams-Seahawks rematch. So I can't wait for that next weekend as well. But let me know what y'all think about this game. It was a great watch. You get these teams playing for a third time. The past two are classics. I didn't think there's any way this game was going to live up to the previous two matchups. But this one was probably the best matchup. It was very similar to the last one in Chicago, where Chicago was kind of out of rhythm on offense. And then they figured it out when it mattered the most. Caleb Williams had some clutch throws, and the Bears were able to pull off. It was almost a carbon copy of the last time these two played. You just had Jordan Love for the entire thing. And it was a higher scoring game. Let me know what y'all think about this game in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night.